Morning and welcome to Read Aloud 3, where it is you, me, and the Trinity. And I'm so glad that you're here to join me reading aloud from the Bible. And I am still filling in to catch up to chapter 12 that I posted before 10 and 11. And I think I just got through with 10 as I'm looking back on my video, and I will be reading chapter 11 today. Shemaiah's prophecy. When Rehoboam arrived at Jerusalem, he mobilized the men of Judah and Benjamin, 180,000 select troops, to fight against Israel and to restore the kingdom to himself. But the Lord said to Shemaiah, the man of God, say to Rehoboam, son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the Israelites in Judah and Benjamin, this is what the Lord says. Do not fight against your relatives. Go back home, for what has happened is my doing. So, guess what? They obeyed the message of the Lord and did not fight against Jeroboam. And that is the answering one of the questions I had. I felt that Rehoboam and Jeroboam were relatives, but one was the son of Nebat, one was the son of Solomon, and I wasn't quite sure of the connection. Forgive me for my lack of study on, just going back and make sure like who's who, but that was a question in my mind that got cleared up as I read on. So I thought I'd make a comment. The next subtitle is Rehoboam fortifies Judah. Rehoboam remained in Jerusalem and fortified various towns for the defense of Judah. He built up Bethlehem. Now remember, Rehoboam, he's the one that God just spoke to, or spoke through Shemaiah to say to Rehoboam, son of Solomon, the message that he gave. And so he remained in Jerusalem, fortified various towns for the defense of Judah. He built up Bethlehem, Etam, Tekoa, Beth-zur, Soko, Adullam, Gath, Mareshah, Ziph, Adaraim, Lachish, Azekah, Zorah, Aijalon, and Hebron. These became the fortified towns of Judah and Benjamin. Rehoboam strengthened their defenses and stationed commanders in them, and he stored supplies of food, olive oil, and wine. He also put shields and spears in these towns as a further safety measure. So only Judah and Benjamin remained under his control. But all the priests and Levites living among the northern tribes of Israel sided with Rehoboam. It kind of threw me because it says but, right? So it sounds like he's fortifying. Okay, so he's fortifying these towns of Judah and Benjamin. But it seems like in addition to that, all the priests and Levites living among the northern tribes, which I believe were different tribes that he was representing, sided with him. So he's kind of spreading his, influence. So what it sounds like to me. In verse 14, it says, the Levites even abandoned their pasture land and property and moved to Judah and Jerusalem because Jeroboam and his sons would not allow them to serve the Lord as priests. Jeroboam appointed his own priests to serve at the pagan shrines where they worshipped the goat and calf idols he had made. From all the tribes of Israel, those who sincerely wanted to worship the Lord, the God of Israel, followed the Levites to Jerusalem, where they could offer sacrifices to the Lord, the God of their ancestors. This strengthened the kingdom of Judah And for 3 years they supported Rehoboam, son of Solomon, for during those years they faithfully followed in the footsteps of David and Solomon. The next subtitle, Rehoboam's family. Rehoboam married his cousin, Mahalath, the daughter of David's son, Jeremoth, and of Abihail, the daughter of Eliab, son of Jesse. Mahalath had 3 sons, Jeush, Shemariah, and Zaham. Later, Rehoboam married another cousin, Maacah, the daughter, I remember her name for some reason, the daughter of Absalom. Maacah gave birth to Abijah, Attai, Ziza, and Shelemith. Rehoboam loved Maacah more than any of his other wives and concubines. In all, he had 18 wives and 60 concubines. So that's really saying something, that he had this love for her above that many other in his harem, we'll call it. And they gave birth to 28 sons and 60 daughters. Wow. Rehoboam appointed Maacah's son Abijah as leader among the princes, making it clear that he would be the next king. Rehoboam also wisely gave responsibilities to his other sons and stationed some of them in the fortified towns throughout the land of Judah and Benjamin. He provided them with generous provisions, and he found many wives for them. Let me recap on who is serving who. We have Rehoboam, who is Solomon's son. And that's who we ended up with talking about. It's Jeroboam who, let's see, somewhere in here where it makes mention of Jeroboam and how he is not allowing the people in the towns where he's, serving or has some authority, because it says to serve the Lord. It says Jeroboam appointed his own priests to serve at the pagan shrines where they worshipped the goat and the calf idols he had made. So from all the tribes of Israel, those who sincerely wanted to worship the Lord, the God of Israel, followed the Levites to Jerusalem where they could offer sacrifices to the Lord, the God of their ancestors. Okay, so then it says, this strengthened the kingdom of Judah, and for 3 years they supported Rehoboam, who was the one serving the Lord, son of Solomon, and who followed, and then during that time they faithfully followed in the footsteps of David and Solomon. So, and we know that David and Solomon, like, as far as following in the footsteps, they were, at that time, they had, like, they practiced polygamy. So there were many wives involved in, bearing them children. And that's just a whole subject area that I think, comes up in these chapters, speaking of these kings. And I think it's to me, it's an interesting topic because of some of my own personal background. And I think people wonder, was that something that God ordained, or that he was okay with families, being based upon polygamous relationships? Well, I believe that God created marriage for 2 people, but that didn't mean that their culture, wasn't based upon this being an accepted practice. Okay, it wasn't against their laws like it is to ours now, at least here in our country, in most places in our country. So yeah, so that's also something to consider. I think if that's like a question that you have in your mind, like, now it is against the laws. God calls us to follow the laws of the land. And I think it was according to his original, you know, institution of marriage, that it be between two people. And I think that, you know, when we look over sort of what comes out of the polygamy that was practiced back then, a lot of it, you know, led to a lot of problems, I guess, is what I see. And I don't know if that's the, you know, I can't say for sure, like, God's trying to demonstrate that by having these situations be written about in the Bible, because it's like, you know, the Bible is reality. And but I also don't think that he's like lauding it and saying like, this is what, you know, this is the way to do it. Anyway, so if you have any comments on that, please leave them in the comment section below. I do and will respond to comments to the best of my ability. So thank you for being here, and I hope that you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. That's my plan. Or you'll see me.